This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Did Steve Moore and his buddy Larry Kudlow get the gift they were looking for to kill the bill? The, 1.7, more like $4 trillion latest iteration of the socialist tax and spendathon yesterday with Virginia, and even the results in New Jersey with that outcome pending. Did they get what they need to kill the bill? Do they have more congressional Democrats thinking maybe Manchin and Sinema are right, we shouldn't pursue this gambit? We'll ask him right now. Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Trumponomics author, economist. Steve, thanks for joining us.
And he had a fun night last night. Tell him what you did.
Good morning. Hi, Amy. I'm a little hoarse right now because I was at the big victory celebration in Chantilly, Virginia last night. And, it was just a complete sweep. Not only did the Republicans win at the top with Von Youngkin. By the way, I was his economic advisor throughout the campaign. Just ran an incredible, very professional campaign all the way. He handled the Trump issue really well. He basically said, I have the always Trumpers and the never Trumpers with me, and he just was quite strong. And the issue that really, I think, pushed him over the top was this frustration and the fury of parents in Northern Virginia about what's happening in our schools. And as soon as McAuliffe said that, I don't think that parents should be involved in telling teachers what to teach. I thought this race is over. And that's where he won, was in those pretty liberal, Northern Virginia suburbs. Parents want to be involved in their schools and what their kids are learning. I hope that everyone around the country understands that. Every politician understands that message. But Republicans also, it appears they've won back the state house in Virginia. I mean, this is a blue state we're talking about. This is a state, Amy, that was won by Biden by 10 points last year.
Right. So to my question, where are congressional Democrats right now? I mean, by the way, the polling on the socialist tax and spendathon isn't very good either. Only 25% of Americans think it will improve their lives. The 32% say it won't. The others are just befuddled because there's so much in it. So it seems like this is a pretty good environment for you to, as you say, kill the bill.
Yeah, well, let me celebrate for a minute here, Dan. Come on.
Let's go. Let's get on to the next thing.
He's still on his high, man.
We need to leverage this victory. Come on, let's go.
But anyway, so, and incidentally, I mean, I saw what was happening in New Jersey, too, from a mile away, and I think probably in the end Murphy's going to pull that out. But, my God, that's a state that Biden won by 15 points, and that's quite a swing there. So how does this affect the monstrosity of that $4 trillion spending bill? I wouldn't say it's a nail in the coffin. It doesn't bury the bill. But this is a really, really bad sign. And this is one of the reasons that our groups were so involved in helping Youngkin win, because we knew that it would take all the wind out of any wind that was left in the sails of this bill. The big question now is, will the Democrats simply move forward? Will they take half a loaf? Will they take this sham infrastructure bill, which is a terrible bill in and of itself, and just go home and say, look, we passed an infrastructure bill? That our biggest allies in this, interestingly enough, are the Squad. The Squad, the AOC group, the far, there's a left wing of the Democratic Party, there's a far left, and then there's a far left of the Democratic Party. And they have been holding up the infrastructure bill, which, again, is a sham. It's unnecessary. We don't need either of these bills. And they say they won't allow a vote on the infrastructure bill until there's been a vote on this other $4 trillion bill, which they're nowhere near having the votes for. So everything's gummied up right now in Washington, which is just what we want. The less Washington does right now, the better for the health of the American people and the health of our country. So I think if I were Pelosi, I'd just say to AOC and who's this wacko woman from St. Louis? This
Bush.
Cory Bush.
I couldn't see what she said yesterday. She said, "Oh, the reason Joe Manchin is against this bill, and Joe Manchin's a member of her own party." She said she acted like he was Donald Trump. My God, she said he's a racist. He hates immigrants. Blah blah blah.
Right.
I mean, you got the Democrats just firing each other. So the bottom line is, I think that this is a really bad news for the $4 trillion spending bill. The whole thing might blow up, and that's my purpose in life right now, is blow up that terrible bill.
But are there any Senate Democrats on the fence that might, because of what happened last night in Virginia, change their mind?
Yeah. Yes. And I'll give you an example.
Please.
We have 2 Virginia senators, that are Democrats, that both have to be very, very nervous right now. I mean, this was a statement. This wasn't just about Virginia. This was a anti-Biden vote. There's no question about it. And so the answer is a resounding yes to your question, Amy. I think you've got eight Democrats in the Senate who have to be really, really nervous right now. And the one thing about politicians is that what they care most about is what, Dan? Self-survival.
Getting reelected, yeah.
They're walking quite a long plank here, and they may be dumped into the ocean if they vote for this thing. As you said, Dan, quite correctly, opinion polls are showing almost every day that the more people find out about the bill, the more they hate it. The Democrats have the narrative wrong. They kept saying, as soon as people see all the wonderful things in this bill, and people are like, well, I'm not so sure I want the IRS going through every one of my transactions of $600 or more. I'm not so sure I want, double the number of IRS agents. I'm not so sure we want to see, this massive destruction of the American energy industry, which is going on. I guess Glasgow, is the Glasgow conference over now?
Well, Biden's on his way back, and our governor is on his way there. It's just a big show, dog and pony show. And now, 400 of them took their private jets, by the way.
Right.
But in the Build Back Better bill, it includes $555 billion to fight climate change. Did you get into that? I have not studied that. What exactly does that mean?
And what that means is we're going to destroy the oil and gas and coal industry. So I'm going to give you, I'm glad you brought that up, Amy, because I just ran these numbers. And this is not complicated, so I know this isn't tough math. So we are now producing, thanks to Joe Biden, 2 million fewer barrels of oil a day because, of course, he hates fossil fuels. And so we were producing 12 million barrels a day. Now we're producing 10. And that's, his plan is to take that down to 0. But now we're at 10. And the price of oil is $85 a barrel. So if you do the math, 2 million times $85 a barrel is $170 million a day. $170 million a day we're forfeiting to other countries like the Saudis and the Russians. And that's, if I do the math right, that's $1 billion a week. That's $50 billion a year that this idiotic, climate change fanaticism of the left is costing the American economy. That's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of GDP. And I know people can say, well, we have to do this because we have to stop the warming of the planet. No, hold on. China wasn't even there. Russia wasn't even there at this conference. They basically said, we have no interest in climate change. We want to, outcompete the rest of the world. Vladimir Putin is going to be the richest person in the world, thanks to Joe Biden. And by the way, remember the left said how much, Trump was in the hip pocket of Vladimir Putin. No, the person who's in the hip pocket of Vladimir Putin is Joe Biden.
Well, since we're having a good old time today, not only are the Dem Socialists in denial about what happened yesterday, they're also in denial about what's happening to Biden and his agenda. This unintentionally hilarious piece in The New Yorker by Eric Levitz argues, and I'm going to read from it for your enjoyment. Okay. The argument for thinking that Biden's troubles owe less to political and economic developments than to media coverage is twofold. By many reasonable metrics, the political and economic situation is fairly good. And number two, the media environment is structurally biased against the Democratic Party due to the right-wing media's strength and the mainstream media's tendency to drive down approval of the in-power party. So he just needs better media coverage, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, is that a Babylon Bee, or are you actually reading a New York?
No, that's from The New Yorker. I know they're indistinguishable, but yes.
Yeah, gee, if only the Democrats could get a fair shake.
Exactly, it's great.
I don't even know if I have to respond to that.
No.
It's just very funny.
Well,
I thought you were going to read this piece. There was a piece in the New York magazine. You're saying that was in the New Yorker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the New York magazine, which is another magazine, a left-wing rag. They had a great article last week saying, Bidenomics is working. It's working.
Yes.
It's working. We got 6% inflation. We got the growth. The economy is slowing down. The debt is going through the roof. But Bidenomics is working.
It's working to depose us as a first world country, right? So now we've got a jobs report coming out on Friday, and the early returns from ADP are more job growth than expected. I mean, ADP can often be off by a significant number, but they show 571,000 new jobs in October.
It's hard to figure this economy right now. I mean, there's a lot of demand for workers, no question about it. We have 11 million open jobs. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think the problem becomes the supply chain issues are very real. We're going to start to see higher gasoline prices if we haven't already seen them, if you haven't seen them in Illinois already. And I think that the supply chain problems, are very dangerous. I said this last week, get your shopping done early, folks, or Santa might not be able to leave all those presents under the tree. So we'll see what happens with this. But I think the killer for Biden is not job growth, it's the inflation rate, because what that means, Dan and Amy, is that when you get 6% inflation and 4% wage growth, you've got people, their paychecks are shrinking by 2%. And that, for anybody making like less than $60,000, it's a huge, huge problem. People, you go to a auto showroom to buy a new car, normally you get a car that's I like that. I'm going to buy. It's a $24,000 sticker price. What do? You haggle, right? You bid the price down. You think you can haggle for the price of a new car today?
No, you're lucky to get one.
People are bidding above the sticker price like they do for homes. So that's inflation, and it's having a really negative impact on the economy. But we'll see. I can't really predict what that job number will be, but the inflation is the real killer right now. And
Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, Trumponomics author, and economist. Steve, congratulations on your work in Virginia. Keep going to kill that bill.
I got my party hat on and my little, it was just a great, great night because, last November wasn't such a good night, but it's nice. And if we can win in New Jersey, for goodness sake, we might even be able to win in Illinois.
That's what I'm saying. All right, get some sleep. Did Youngkin give you guys breakfast like he said he was during his speech?
Oh yeah, that was very funny. Yeah, it was 1:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys.
All right, have a good day.
Bye.
Stephen Moore, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Why are cash out refinances such a big deal right now? Uncle Ryan tries to teach me something.
I will say one thing. I really feel like right now might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I've just never seen a market where the rates are so low and values across the country have skyrocketed as much as they have. That combination, I remember one couple in particular, they were looking to do some home improvements at the house, but they were worried about their payments going up. Well, with rates being so low and them building up so much equity in the home over the last few years, we were able to get them to cash out for those home improvements, and their payments actually went down a little bit. Every single situation is different, but it does happen more often than you think. So it definitely does not hurt to call.
We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Mortgage Corp, Melbourne, New York. NMLS number 1330. Ryan Vreck, NMLS number 65233. For all licensing information, go to nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
Dan Proft here. I'm going to level with you. Our friends at Lydia Home are in dire need of a vehicle to transport their foster children residents around town. To make this happen, they need a rather large gift of $40,000. Many of you are business owners or have the individual financial means to make this happen. We're asking if you can help. To show your support, and as a special thanks, if you provide this $40,000 gift to assist with the purchase of a new vehicle for the kids, Amy and I will broadcast Chicago's Morning Answer live from your business, and AM 560 will cater lunch for your office. Plus, Lydia Home is a 501c3, so your donation will be 100% tax deductible. Faithfully serving children throughout Chicagoland for more than 100 years, Lydia Home is a Chicago-based, Christian nonprofit organization. And right now their kids are literally depending on you. Please consider donating today. Visit hopeforourkids.org. That's hopeforourkids.org.
So what's the trouble here, mister?
I don't understand what happened. I checked my stuff in Chicago